Hey guys, there are some really important things that are happening right now on the planet, and if we don't understand the bigger picture, especially for us as empaths, nothing that is happening or is going to be happening in the next few years is going to make any sense. So it's really important to pay attention because we are being triggered into awakening right now. We're being triggered into our roles, into why we came in the first place. We came as an answer to evolution. The humans have been at war with each other for all the recorded history that we have, and that war has been programmed into our DNA. And because of that program of war and lack, we continue to play out the same stories over and over and over again. And in order to get free from that cycle of karma, we have to be able to evolve to a new level of understanding that we are all connected, that we are all one. So empaths came in, those of us who've come in with a strong ability to feel the other, to feel the external reality and to feel the other, to not be able to separate ourselves from them. We understand that we are them, that they are us, that we are all connected. Not only do we feel them, but we see and feel the dynamics of the entire story. And you can feel in your body, because the body is where we carry trauma. The human body has been the one that has stored the trauma. Again, the DNA has stored it. DNA carries memory. This has been scientifically proven. So it's important to understand that we are an answer to the asking for more evolved creations. In other words, evolution. So in order for a species to evolve, it has to overcome whatever its obstacle is, whatever's holding it back. And what has held us back is our inability to understand that we are all connected. So right now, the collective is asking for restoration, and the collective has been asking for a long time. But people, because of the internet and because of the spike in conscious awareness of our connectedness, and even quantum physics and science proving that everything is connected, we are starting to understand that it is absolutely essential for our survival to understand how to have harmony on the planet. And this comes by understanding that we are all creators. That is essentially the essence of everything that we are. We're creators, and we create through our thoughts and our emotions and the stories and the meaning that we give this experience. So you, as an empath, you have had a unique experience here on the planet. You may have even felt like you've hardly had an identity because you've absorbed all the identities around you and have maybe felt really disconnected from the world, like you don't know what your role is. Well, the thing is now you are being triggered into your role. You're being triggered into what you came here to do, which is heal the DNA. In other words, overcome the program of lack and war. Remember, we've been programmed with war. And so what we've come in with our heart more intact, or our ability to feel, we've come in with an understanding of not only how we're connected to others, but the abundance of love. Because we know when people feel good, when we feel love around us, how amazing this entire experience can be and how it feels like the planet is whole. That is why we have this impulsive, sometimes almost addiction to trying to make others feel better, because we know that when others feel better, we feel better. But the problem is, because we've been in survival mode, it's been motivated by fear of creating fear of hurting, fear of creating what we've created in the past, fear of not being loved, and therefore not surviving. So at the core of the lack paradigm, at the core of the lack matrix, is fear. And it's really important to understand that, because that's how it functions and that's how it's operated. It's motivated by fear, and we're controlled in it by guilt and shame. When we begin to understand that love is unlimited, that we are not in lack of love. And matter of fact, love is the hottest currency on the planet. It's what everyone needs. It's in high demand. We do not survive without love. And the cool thing to know about that is that, like I said, love is unlimited. So when we begin to understand that, we begin downloading a new matrix into our mind, which is the matrix of abundance. It's an understanding that everything is abundant, that nature itself is abundant, that what we are is abundant, because life itself always wants to create more life. So when you have a lack matrix, it wants to destroy, and it's doing it out of fear. It's in survival mode. It feels like we're in survival mode. This world doesn't feel like our home, and there's a destructive energy behind it. When we understand that this is our home, this is our inheritance, we did come here to enjoy the fruits of this world and co-create with it as sovereign guardians of the planet, it is important that we allow that matrix to be downloaded to us. So if you want to understand what's happening to you, understand that you are getting a new navigation system. So as an empath especially, because we have been programmed, like everyone else, with fear and guilt and shame. We've, in other words, been programmed with the lack matrix. All of our abilities have almost felt counterintuitive. They have worked against us because what we've done is bypassed ourselves, not knowing how to meet our own needs to make the other feel better because we're in survival mode, and we know that if the other doesn't feel better, we're not going to feel better because we know we're connected. But that has worked against us because it's been motivated by fear. And fear, like I said, the root of all fear, when we're in fear, we are not connected to love. The root of fear is that there's not love. Because like I said, love, we have to have love to survive. Look at our whole history. When we don't love something, we murder it. We chop its head off. We go to war. And we have been at war from the beginning. And that war is stemmed from lack. And we will never heal that program if we do not understand that there is not a limit to love. It's endless. It's absolutely endless. And as each individual human being heals their inner conflict, the war that's going on within them, because on some level, every single human on this planet is struggling with their humanity, is struggling with guilt and shame, and what are we doing, and why are we doing it, and why are we hurting each other? It's important to understand that. And then we all have our own programming, our own wounds that we got in the world, our own survival mechanisms. And so we're being triggered right now. Everyone's being triggered because we're seeing right now that what can happen when we don't look at the wound, when we don't actually heal. So the important thing to know is that all that matters right now is that you download the matrix of abundance into your consciousness, that you allow love and abundance to be your motivation, and you remember that you are a sovereign, creative being, and that you do not have to be subject to any slavery at all. You are not subject to anything. You are the one creating it. You're creating it through your emotions and through your thoughts. So if you're in fear and lack, any creator knows when you're in that state, you can't produce quality things. But when you're in inspiration, when you're in the flow, when you're in touch with your heart, that's when the magic happens. The other day I was reading about this species, this insect that originally fed on some sort of, I think human or any sort of body decomposing, and eventually when the bodies would decompose, they didn't have anything else to feed off of, and so they would die. But the species learned how to just grow wings so they could fly over to another rotting corpse. The species just magically grew wings in order to survive. And it's important, we all know that that's how evolution works. And that's what's happening now. We are not an exception to evolution. We are evolving as well. So we know that what we're doing doesn't work. And we know we will not survive if we continue doing it. So what are we doing? We are downloading a new matrix. And it's just happening because we are asking. And that's what life does. It creates more life. So this has been coming to me more than anything, that the true abundance, stepping into true wealth, the thing that every single person looks for, that they think money or the system or the lack matrix is going to provide for them, they're actually bypassing what we have, which is free. And it's love, and it's access to knowledge, and it's access to each other, and it's access to history, so we know not to repeat ourselves. We can evolve. And all that matters, this is the coolest part of it all that matters is that you heal yourself within. It's that whole healer, heal thyself. And empath, you are crucial in this because you've been bypassing yourself this whole time. And in order to overcome the program, which is what you came to do, you came as an answer, your only job is to love yourself. Self-love is the answer right now. Because when we calm down, when we give ourselves what we need, when we soothe our triggers, when we heal our past wounds that are setting off programs that are telling us things like we're unlovable and we're not enough and whatever it is, there's not enough love, things are in scarcity, all the fear programming, all it does is put us in more fear, and it makes us more susceptible to repeat the same thing we've repeated over and over again. So all that should matter to you right now is feeling better, because when you feel better, that's when you're inspired, and that's when we come together and say, okay, what can we create? Nothing can be against us when we stand together, because we're all asking for the same thing. It's a win-win-win. No one has to compromise any aspect of themselves. Because if you compromise an aspect of yourself, you're still in lack, because you're saying there's not enough, so I have to bypass something in order to get this need met, and there's always going to be something missing. So what I'm doing right now is teaching everything I can about all that I've been getting about the abundance matrix. And it's really our highest leverage point to play right now, because if we feel better inside, we're the creators of this reality. We're the ones giving it meaning. We're the one thinking. We're the one telling the universe what to do. So if we get our alignment into peace, into self-love, into an understanding that there's no lack, that we don't have to go to war, and that we can actually create something epic. All the things that we love and we're addicted to, like excitement. Think of war, the excitement of war. The reason why humans keep creating it, there's something exhilarating in it, overcoming the enemy, all those things. But we can do it in a more creative way. We can keep those parts of us that is our shadow. We can keep those aspects of us that just love to embrace life and make love to it and all those things, and we can do something creative with it, and we can create something else. And the thing is, we don't have to come all together and create mini meetings and a bunch of systems to do it. We do it here. We do it organically. We do it from the inside out. The inspiration will naturally lead you to where you need to go, and there's trust involved. And it's so important that you don't act, though you're triggered, that you don't act in fear, that you don't react from the trigger, but wait, calm down, get in touch with your heart, get in touch with your navigation system. Don't bypass any of your needs. Get to a place where you are full so you can overflow, and act from that space, because then you'll have clarity of what to do. So I'm teaching a free masterclass about this, specifically about the abundance matrix and how to shift your navigation, because it's actually shifting at our most vulnerable level. All we have to do is tune into our most vulnerable asset, our most vulnerable self, where we are most vulnerable, and allow abundance to heal us there, and everything in our grid shifts. Essentially, we are getting a new navigation system. And for empaths, where this highest leverage point is learning to not bypass your needs, learning to tune into yourself first. So I'm doing a free masterclass on this because I just think this is the information that every empath needs to know. Everyone on the earth needs to know, but especially if you know that your mission is to come here and heal the DNA and help us evolve, it's really important that you download your new navigation system. You're getting triggered on purpose. This is very purposeful. There's other aspects of us, and you know what I mean. Like there's more than what we think, than what we've been programmed with knowing, and you have that inner knowing within you. So it's important to remember right now. Remember what you know, which is why we're here. So if you want to sign up for this free masterclass, click the link in the description box below, or go to my website, chakracenter.org, and you can sign up for the free masterclass. I think I'm going to release it tomorrow. I'll just send it to your inbox. It's about a 45-minute class. So I love you guys. I hope you're doing well. And remember, you're not alone in this. Don't bypass your needs. If you're scared, especially if you're triggered into self-hatred right now, remember, that's how the war is won. That's how we're triggered into war, I should say. That's how we're triggered into continuing war over and over and over again, is by going to war within ourselves first. So it's really important that you end the war in yourself, that you end the self-conflict, and especially as an empath, because you feel humans, you might be hating humans right now. You might be hating your humanity. So it's really important to tune into that and to love anyway, because there's never a reason to withhold love. And we know this. There's been so many studies that have proven that when you want to change behavior, you don't withhold love. Withholding love is the worst thing that you can do. And negative reinforcement does zero to rehabilitate behavior. So we need to understand that about our humanity. Our humanity needs to be loved, regardless of how dark it is, regardless of what it's done. It is in survival mode because it has been programmed with war and its heart has been broken. We have had so much trauma on this planet, and we have the memory of that trauma, and we're experiencing the trauma now. So it's really important that we allow the trauma to come up. We allow ourselves to feel that we do not withhold love from humanity. And that means not withholding love from ourselves. And it starts right here. And it is the most powerful thing you can do. You are not powerless. We have so much more control here. What goes on in your internal reality has far more influence over you than what's going on in the external reality. So remember that. Unplug a little bit. Don't deny what's going on in the external reality, but remember, there's nothing you can do about the reflection. You can only do something about you, and then the reflection changes. So sign up for the free masterclass. I can't wait to go further with you guys, and I love you. You're not alone.